Hi everyone, this is Asma Mushtaq from the W Vibes, and in today's lecture I will explain how you can perform the looping in the PIC microcontroller. And before starting that, I will explain what is meant by the looping. By the looping we mean if we want to do or perform some tasks repeatedly, then we use the concept of looping in programming. Fine, and for performing the looping we have conditional branches or unconditional branches. So in case of the conditional branches, obviously first the condition is checked, and if that particular condition is satisfied, then the control will be transferred to perform that particular repeated task. And in the conditional branches, we can perform the looping using decrement file register and skip if 0 or branch not 0. Similarly, branch not carry, branch carry, and so on. There are other conditional branches as well. While in case of the unconditional branches, we do not have to check any particular condition, and we can just control the transfer without checking the condition. Fine. And this involves two instructions like go to instruction, which is most frequently used, and other one is the branch instruction, which mnemonic is BRA. Okay, so now let's see how we can perform the looping using the conditional branches first. For understanding this, let's say if we want to add decimal value 5 10 times to the reg register. Okay, so now here one approach is to write 10 statements of add literal value to reg, and then you can move this 5 10 times and you can add it. This will be quite inappropriate approach. Basically this is not preferred. So we perform this task using looping now, and for that we can see here the counter value. This is actually the counter value. So the counter that we need to start or we need to set is equal to 10, and then we can add 5 using this counter. Fine. And whenever you have to design or write a code for such problem, the first step is to allocate a memory with the name counter and set its value or initialize the counter. We can set the value of the counter in the PIC microcontroller using the file register. So first I will reserve allocation. Let's say 30 hex has been reserved, or it has been named as a counter variable, and its address is 30 hex, where I will actually initialize the counter. Fine. Then obviously I'll need to store this counter value, so I will just do work move literal value to reg, because first we have to copy the contents of this counter into the reg register, and then I can copy the counter value in the file register. This is actually this memory location. This is some memory location, and it is actually the some address in file register. Fine. So what I will do, move literal value to reg. Which literal value? Because we want to set the counter equal to 10, that's why move literal value to reg. And then the next step would be move reg to file. Which file register we want to move or copy this counter value? Now we have named this 30 hex file register as counter, so I'll write here counter. Okay, so in this way counter will be initialized at the value 10. Okay, one thing more, when we write down simply move literal value to reg and 10, then PIC microcontroller or in the MPLab software, it automatically considers it as a hex value. So in order to differentiate it, it's a decimal value, I will have to write D before that and then single commas. In this way this will act as a decimal value, and now the counter has been set to its initial value. Fine. Now what's the next step? The next step is what? I'll add or I'll initialize or clear the reg register. So for that I will have to write move literal value to reg, which is equal to 0. So using this statement I have cleared the contents of reg register. Reg will be cleared. Now the next step will be add literal value to reg. Which literal value again? Because I am talking about the decimal value, so that's why I will write decimal D, and now the reg register will be having 5. Now here comes the looping concept. Now I will check the value of the counter. I will first decrement it and I will check either it's 0 or not. If it is 0, it's not 0, then I would like to perform the same task again. So what I will write, I will use the mnemonic decrement file register skip if 0. Which file register I am actually decrementing? This counter value. Okay, so it's the counter, and then if it is not 0, then obviously the control should be transferred to the next statement where I want to do some task. If it will be 0, it will actually discard the next statement, it will go to the other statement. Fine. So decrement file registers instruction works like, let's say there is some instruction go to back, and then there is some other instruction like move literal value reg to 39. Okay, so what happens, how this instruction works? It actually looks at the contents of this file register, it subtracts 1 from it and checks if it is 0 or not. If it is not 0, it will execute the very next instruction, and if it is 0, then it will skip the next instruction. This instruction will not be executed and the PC will be shifted over here for performing the next task in case when file register is 0. When file register is 0, then this instruction will be executed, and if not 0, then the very next statement that has been written to the decrement file register skip if 0 will be executed. So what I will write over here, I will now say go to back. Okay, now I want to transfer the control over the back label, and what task I want to perform repeatedly? It's not this task, not this task, not even this task, because it will then all time resetting the value of the reg register. I will transfer or write the label back over here, and the reason behind is that I want to add the literal value, which is the decimal value 5, into the reg repeatedly. Okay, so first counter will be 10, then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and so on. It will be decremented by 1. One thing more that you must remember about the decrement file register is that the counter is decremented automatically. You don't have to write a separate instruction for subtracting 1 from the counter value. Okay, and here I can write end. So this is the simple task where I have used the concept of the looping, or how the looping is performed using the decrement file register. Thank you for watching.